if you don't know if you have it, or if you doubt whether you have it, let us be the judge. Because you just might have what the world is looking for and you just don't know it yet. Oftentimes, we'll see people that they're just they're not there yet, but we offer to mentor them, we offer to bring them along, and it's because we see something.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this episode of None of Your Business. And today we have a super special treat. It's rare that we have someone as accomplished as today's guest on the show. And our great friend, we got to spend some time with him and his beautiful wife hanging out in Egypt. But you guys are going to learn a lot about his newest project, Go Fund Yourself. You're going to want to check this out. Please welcome in Rory Cutaia.
Thank you. Great to see you guys. Missed you.
I know, missed you. Excited to have you on the show.
Before we go Fund Yourself, let's talk Verb a little bit. So that people know, you didn't just wake up one day and say TV show.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about your trajectory that kind of leads us into this idea of Go Fund Yourself.
Well, I mean, I could go way back because it's been a journey. Obviously, all of us have our journeys. But I think the most recent, epiphanies, events, things that led to the show itself was my own journey in accessing the capital markets for my company. We're a NASDAQ listed company, rang the bell, on NASDAQ was super cool. But today, for, I would say, the vast majority, if not all, small companies, micro caps, small cap companies, accessing the capital markets is extraordinarily difficult. You can have the greatest business on the planet and you could be profitable, but if you want to scale, you need to access capital. Right. Today, very, very hard because most people are not going to listen to what you have to say. They're not going to even appreciate whatever your value proposition might be. And then for those that do, they know that they've got, the leverage, they know they've got the power. So they're going to really, make a deal for you that's not going to be good for you. And it might seem good in the near term because you'll have access to the dough, but the long-term ramifications of those deals is horrendous and your companies could be destroyed. And so we decided to use the technology that Verb developed. And this is technology that leverages the innate impulse buy propensity that we all have, where you're watching a video, because video is the only way people want to consume and share information today, right? That's it. Nobody reads anything anymore. Nobody wants to read anything anymore. It's all video. Well, if you can get people or give them the opportunity to just tap on the screen and buy something, when that impulse buy hits them, then you're going to succeed. And any business that could figure out how to leverage that impulse buy propensity. I mean, look, supermarkets figured it out decades ago, right? Putting all that junk at the
aisle,
at the checkout counter,
right outside when you walk out.
So we've sort of updated that with our technology. Now today it's everywhere, right? Yeah. TikTok, everybody's using that kind of technology. But I thought, how do we use that to help people, companies, entrepreneurs access the capital markets? And we came up with what is known now as the Go Fund Yourself TV show. So here's how it works. Think of it as sort of a combination of Shark Tank meets Kickstarter, right? So you have entrepreneurs, business executives presenting the value proposition of their business to a panel of we're called titans, not sharks or judges. We're titans. And the titans are going to ask you questions, challenging your underlying business assumptions, the business fundamentals, all of those things. But the difference is that as you're watching this, and it's on Cheddar TV, the first episode airs January 30th, here's a shameless plug. January 30th, 7 o'clock Thursday, and it's a weekly show on most cable providers, Cheddar. Anyway, while you're watching this, instead of just the sharks being able to invest in these companies, the viewers at home can invest in the companies by scanning a QR code that will appear on the screen. So in that moment, while these entrepreneurs are presenting, and maybe they have a really cool technology, a great product, or you just really believe in the person that's presenting, right? They just have that gravitas, that magnetism, that thing that makes you want to believe in them and trust them. And in that moment, you can scan that code. It'll take you to a place where you could very quickly actually invest and get an ownership interest in that company. Anybody. Because this is something that was created called the Jobs Act. And this is a provision that is now interpreted to mean that anybody can invest in these companies, not just the elites in the backdoor, backroom deals, and not just so-called accredited investors, which, most companies can only raise money. Like I can only raise money from accredited investors. But this new Jobs Act allows anyone with an idea, basically, to file the appropriate documents with FINRA and the SEC, and you could publicize your offering, go on a TV show like ours, and the average everyday man and woman can make an investment in these companies, and it's completely legal and it's legitimate, and they will see an asset class, have access to an asset class. These startups, some of them, all you need is one, and they could change your life. And most people never even hear about them, much less have an opportunity to actually participate. And that's what the show does. It brings that kind of opportunity to the everyday man and woman, and it gives those companies seeking capital, that need capital, that deserve capital, because they've got something great that needs to come to market. It gives them access to that capital that they otherwise would never have. So we're super proud of it. We feel like we're doing something really good, and the show's fun. Yeah, it's fun. We have a great time, doing it, and we're doing good.
I got to tell you, so two things come to mind. Number one, I love the idea or the thought process around the impulse buy, but all I could think was like, ooh, I'm a pulse buy. Like I'm a very intentional buyer. I go out with I do. I'm like, it's not impulsive. It's very thought out and intentional. It's very impulsive. No, but honestly, I really love this idea. And what I think's fascinating about it actually makes me think of Ring Doorbell. You remember the story about Ring Doorbell being on Shark Tank and how they went up there and they actually got denied by the sharks and they did not walk away from a deal with a deal. I wonder how many people were watching that episode saying to themselves,
"You're so right.
I would invest in
You're
that.
So
how
right.
could you not make a deal? How would you not invest that?" And you've been able to bridge that audience investment, emotional investment with a true actual financial investment.
Yes.
And I think that's amazing.
Yes, exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly
Let's talk
right.
about the pitches, the companies that are pitching. Describe the selection process. I hope I get this all the time. I have an idea. Can you go with just an idea? Do you need to have, describe the process by which somebody might end up pitching on the show?
Well, I can't tell you there's a definitive formula. Someone could show up with nothing more than an idea. But the people that do the screening, because there's a lot of people that want to be on TV, right? They want to be on TV just to be on TV. Forget about whether they have an original thought or not, right? They want to be on TV. So, the people that do the screening, sometimes they'll say, look, they're really early. They're not really far along, but they've got something. They've got that it factor, right? And please, Rory, Jason, David, just meet them.
Yeah,
and that happens quite often, and we'll put them on, and we'll shoot their show, and when the season starts, people will see some really amazing people, and since then their ideas have been much further developed, and we invest in them too. We see something interesting, what the heck, yeah.
What about on the reverse? Is there such a thing as you're too developed to go on the show?
No, we haven't seen that. There's there's a couple of different ways that you can access the capital markets and leverage our show to promote it. One is called Reg CF, right? That's what you would file for that kind of registration, and you could raise up to $5 million from anyone, non-accredited investors.
Are there minimums associated with that?
No, you set your own minimum.
Wow.
Depending upon what it is you're seeking to do and the demographic that you're seeking to target for your investor base. It could be as little as $5 if you want, and as much as you want. And then beyond that, then sort of the next level up is something called Reg A. And with Reg A, you have to be much further along. You have to have financials, and you can only access capital from accredited investors, but you could promote it. And you could raise up to $75 million. Wow. And you are setting the terms. See, that's what's really interesting about this, because if you go to a VC, you go to an investment bank, you go to private equity, they're going to tell you what the terms are, right? And it's going to be, and they're going to make it sound so great. And right just as you get to the date where you're about to close, well, there's been a change. Now it's this, Yeah, that's the real world we live in.
Sounds like you might have lived that.
Oh yeah, exactly.
I think a lot of people have, for sure.
More than once in the multiple lifetimes that I've had. So. This, through this mechanism, you set it and you decide what you want and what the terms are going to be. Now, it doesn't mean everyone's going to say, yeah, that's great, let me invest.
Right.
And so you have to be, cognizant of that and make sure you set terms that are going to make sense.
You've mentioned the it factor multiple times. You were saying that there could be the audience that's watching an episode and sees that it factor in that individual and really connects with them and wants to invest. Or you as a Titan, when you're watching them, then they have that it factor. Or even your screeners, they see that it factor.
Yeah.
What is it for you?
Oh, I don't know that's so amorphous. It's different for everything. But David and I have done a bunch of different shows together, and 2-minute drill and office hours, and oftentimes we'll see people that they're just not there yet, but we offer to mentor them, we offer to bring them along, and it's because we see something, and it's always different. It's always different, and I don't know that I could describe it. In fact, I think if I could. Have a bestseller.
Yeah, I was going to say, we'd have a whole other business, right?
A whole other career.
How to get you to have it.
Exactly. But you know it. It's like when you see it, when you feel it.
Yeah.
It's hard to describe.
Let's talk to anybody out there on the other side then that has an idea or a upstart business that's coming along. What advice would you give somebody having gone through your round of taping? What do you see like? How do I know that I'm ready to look for some funding? I'm ready to access the capital markets. I'm ready to actually apply to go on a show, because I think a common thing amongst entrepreneurs is I'm not ready. I'm not ready. This could be the greatest business, but I'm not ready to go in front of Rory and the Titans. I'm not ready to take on capital. What will that mean? Guide us through that sort of thought process.
So
mentor us.
I'm glad you asked me that, because that's such an important thing, and this really needs to get out there. I have met over the course of my life and career so many people that had extraordinary accomplishments, extraordinary whatever it might be, technology or something. But they never have the confidence to recognize it and realize, I've got something that's really compelling, that's really cool. I'm going to go out and commercialize it. I'm going to go out and exploit it. I'm going to go do it. I've met a lot of people that just don't have that. So what I would say to those people, if you don't know if you have it, or if you doubt whether you have it, let us be the judge. Go to GoFundYourself.show, fill out the application, answer the questions. Let us be the judge, because you just might have what the world is looking for, and you just don't know it yet.
I love that, because so many people just get frozen in analysis. They get frozen. We talk a lot about great achievers who are successful in life have things on their to-do list that they know this will change the dynamic.
Yeah.
And they just repeatedly skip over it. Right. And do the next thing, do the next thing. And it's so difficult to realize that and then actually tackle that one thing, that will make all of the difference. Let's talk about this. So let's give some mentorship to maybe people that are watching that have been on the show. I go on the show, hypothetically, I raise a lot of money. You've been in that place before. How does that change my business? What do I need to be prepared for when I do take on capital? Because I think that's also a concern. Because now, when it's just me and I'm an entrepreneur, I can be as risky as I want because look, if it goes south, we're the ones that are not going to eat. But now that I've taken some of Rory's money, it changes that dynamic. And how do I overcome that so that I can still be myself, still take the company to where we've agreed we're trying to take it, but not get burdened back by like, well, now I'm timid because I have a lot more people's money on the line.
Yeah, another really good question. So first, reach out for help. Don't be afraid to ask for a coach, a mentor. Actively find the right one with the right mix. And, we've got David on the show and Jason and other people. And if they're not the right one for you, which I'd be surprised because they're both so great, they would direct you to someone who can help. And maybe you already know people, you just haven't thought to ask them. So definitely do that. But the one thing I would say, do not do, don't lose that edge, that risk-taking persona that got you where you are and makes you the entrepreneur that you are today and that you can be and will be. Don't lose that because you get timid, because now you're responsible for other people's money. Don't lose what got you here. And I think a coach could help you, realize that, recognize that, and not be hampered by it.
So not to be a Debbie Downer, but I do have a very important question because I think, especially as entrepreneurs, we have, great ideas, massive ambition, passion, but a lot of times it may not be the right solution for our market. Maybe the product's not right. Maybe the idea is not right. And then I go on a show like yours and I'm told this just isn't right. When is it important to know when to call it quits and it's a fail to move on to something greater? Because I think sometimes we get too stuck on it's our baby, we made it.
Yes. So for anyone that's gone to business school, it's drummed into your head to just get your business plan, work your business plan, keep your head down, don't listen to what people say, just stay focused, just do it. And that is a recipe for failure, okay? You cannot do that, especially in today's world, because everything is changing so rapidly, whether it's technology or society in general. If you are not keeping your eyes and ears open and constantly looking around, then and be prepared to pivot, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
Because I can't think of a single entrepreneur, a single business, anyone that I know in business that didn't start out with what they thought was the greatest idea on the planet. Right? Greatest, myself, greatest idea on the planet. And you absolutely will pivot at some point and maybe more than once, maybe multiple times.
Yeah.
So to your question, well, how do you know when to do that? Man, that's one of those, like, how do you know what the it factor is? It's really hard, but you have to really look inside yourself. It's not something you can necessarily hear from someone else because you don't know. Do they know what the heck they're talking about? Is should I really just stay the course or should I change because it's not going to work? You have to be honest with yourself, and I think if you learn to be true to yourself and not be caught up in your own hype and not see the forest through the trees, and I don't want to sound cliche, but you really need to just look inside yourself. Is this really going the way I think it's going to go? Everything that I'm seeing, everything that I learned, should I stay the course or should I be prepared to change? You just need to be honest with yourself. Yeah. And that's the best advice I can give.
And that's one of the most important things in being an entrepreneur, right? Is also knowing when to stop and having that introspective look and saying, is it time to call it quits? Because there are better and greater things that you can do. And oftentimes you wait too long to stop and quit. And you end up not being able to live to your full potential. Because, So I think
or you do it too soon.
Or you do it too soon. So I think in order to be successful, you need to know when to pursue and you need to know when to just hit the brakes and try something else.
Yeah. And you need to do that self-assessment.
Yeah, it's great.
Quarterly.
Oh yeah, that's good.
And be honest with yourself. You don't have to share this with anybody else. That's hard, and that might hold you back from actually doing it. Just just for yourself.
Yeah.
Great. Tell us, where do we see the show? And also give us a URL again, the plug. How do we sign up if we think that we've got that it factor?
GoFundYourself.show, and go to that section on the website where you can apply. And as I said, let us be the judge if appropriate, to go out and raise capital from the masses.
And then we can
Love
see
it.
it on Cheddar.
And on Cheddar TV, they are on, I think, every major cable distributor,
Yep.
from Spectrum to you name it. And first show is Thursday, January 30th, 7:00 Eastern. It's a Thursday night, and then every Thursday prime time.
And I know that you pay attention to details. So just one last question. So what happens when, like, you're in your 20th season of Go Fund Yourself and it's gone to syndication, and I'm watching an episode from like 8 years ago? Can I still click on that QR code and get in at the initial term?
Probably not.
It'll probably
Probably
say
not.
our funding is full.
Right, probably not, but it would still make great entertainment.
Yes.
And the lessons that you learn from seeing people present,
Right.
just like on Shark Tank, it's an educational show, if nothing else, right? Seeing people present, see what they do wrong, see what they say wrong, listen to the questions from the judges. I encourage people to watch that stuff and pay attention. This will be the same.
I love it.
Yeah.
Best of luck to the show. I know it's going to be a huge success.
Well, we want you guys to
And-
be on as
Right.
guest titans, and you're gonna have a lot of fun. And
It will not be me.
I'd love to be a Titan.
all right,
Hey.
I love it. Hey, don't be so mean, Lacey.
I'll try.
All
I'll
right,
do my
everybody,
best.
you heard it. Check out Go Fund Yourself. It's on Cheddar. You have it. Just check on your local cable provider. You can find it Cheddar. You might not have watched a lot of shows, but you might have watched. There's a couple great business shows on
Yeah,
there.
we watch a lot
So
on
if you're
there.
listening to this podcast, you may already be locked into Cheddar. Make sure you add Go Fund Yourself to your weekly rotation. Be very educational, inspirational, and it will entertain you. And listen, for a few of you, you're being called to apply. You should be on the show yourself. Rory, thank you so much for being on the show.
thank you guys. Appreciate it. A lot of fun.
All right,
Great seeing you.
everybody. That's it for this week. We'll be back again next week with a brand new episode of the None of Your Business podcast.